Whistle while you work.
3 Expo, with all the glitz and glamour of a Hollywood premiere. But instead of enchanting us, it ignited an internet firestorm that is hotter than ever. Rachel Zegler, who plays the fairest of them all, and GDOT, who plays the wickedly glamorous evil queen, looked exactly like the princess, serenading us with as she demanded who was the fairest of all of them. Whistle while you work. Well, that exuded villainous charm. However, just when it looked like Disney was getting ready for another fairy tale triumph, Rachel revealed that the 7 CGI dwarfs were completely altering the plot. And you can bet that the internet lost its mind, and the backlash was harsh rather than basking in the glow of Disney magic. Zegler was then enmeshed in an online catastrophe that was only getting worse. Messier fast forward to D23 2024, when Zegler took the stage to unveil her Snow White reimagining in the hopes of winning over the critics. However, instead of fairy dust, she was hit with the stuff of nightmares. The social media storm you see in the trailer, which features Gal Gadot as the gloriously wicked evil queen, and those famous CGI dwarves left fans feeling more meth than magic. The haters then came out in full force. But the story doesn't end there. One particularly vile troll decided to go too far in the middle of the Snow White shade, saying that someone should just end Zegler's life. Twitter swiftly removed the post for breaking its rules, but not before Zegler saw it, and wow, did she give a Broadway-caliber clap back. She simply replied with the tweet, "Fun fact, I'll be dying 8 times a week on Broadway this fall. Get your tickets." Lee, did we mention that she told Star that she will be appearing with Heartstopper Connor in the next revival of Romeo and Juliet? Now, Edler's admirers have united behind their queen, showered her feed with virtual hugs and love. She was referred to be a champ by some, while some people advised her to never stop being herself. Zegler seemed to have all the support she required, while the other half of the world continued to attack her. However, the problem is that many people's distaste for the actress isn't new. Rather, it's a reaction that has developed over time. In fact, the backlash against her became so strong that it was even discussed on news channels, due to her intolerable demeanor.
But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat, and that's why people are so annoyed.
You see, when Disney announced in 2021 that Rachel Zegler would be taking over as Snow White, you could almost hear the internet gasp. However, rather than applauding this new interpretation of a classic, some people went full troll and started disparaging Zegler's casting because she wasn't white enough to play the princess with skin as white as snow. Apparently, a little diversity in fairy tales is still too much for some people to handle in the 21st century, and the online outcry was as ugly as the evil queen's jealousy with critics fixated on Zegler's polished Colombian, or rather than her star power. Haters questioned why an actress of Latin descent should dare to play a role that's been locked in the Disney vault since 1937, but Zegler proving she's every bit the princess Disney knew she was didn't let the trolls are on her parade. Instead, she took to X to shut down the nonsense with grace. And a side of sass, she wrote, "I really truly do not want to see it," alongside throwback pics of herself as a little girl dressed as, you guessed it, a princess. Turns out this queen has been slaying the royal G game since day one. And when the final mic drop, Zegler added that she hoped every child out there believes they could be a princess if they wanted to be. While that claim seems cute, and all, some people just aren't having it. In fact, many people have come out and said Rachel's version of Snow White is just too woke, especially since Zegler said they changed up the original story because being saved by Prince Charming was just too old-fashioned.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince.
This Snow White is all about establishing her own rules, exercising power, and dreaming of leadership rather than genuine love. Gone was the damsel in distress waiting for her prince to arrive with a kiss.
The fact that she's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's the proactive one, and she's the one who set the terms, is what makes it so relevant.
However, Zegler went on to become a complete feminist icon, emphasizing that the new Snow White is about accepting a woman's power in the contemporary society.
The cartoon was made 85 years ago. and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power.
Now, if you felt the evil queen's envy was intense, it was nothing compared to the outcry that ensued on social media, which was filled with conservative media and anti-woke accounts. The internet was on fire after Rachel revealed that she believes Prince Charming is a creepy stalker and hinted that his scenes could be asked altogether. But despite the criticism, outlets like the Daily Wire sharpened their pitchforks and even announced that they would produce their own version of Snow White, promising a story in line with the values in which it was written. After all, Zegler and GDAT stood their ground, unconcerned and unapologetic, because they're not just reimagining a classic, they're rewriting the rules as much as both actresses tried to get through the drama surrounding Disney's new Snow White.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
From here on out, the online outrage was crazy, with critics declaring Zegler a walking PR disaster for Disney. Over on TikTok, user at Ruben Woodall racked up over 1.3 million likes after blasting Disney for trying to turn Snow White into a girl boss. According to Woodall, the whole point of Snow White's tale isn't about leadership or feminism, and he questioned why every reimagining has to be that the woman is in a position of power, otherwise it's not feminist. Now, he wasn't the only one who was sharpening his pitch, for even David Hahn, the son of the original 1937 animation's director, couldn't resist chiming in a scathing interview with the Daily Telegraph hand called Disney's reboot a disgrace, and accused the studio of showing no respect for the classic his father helped create. It was quite clear many people were getting offended by the blatant change in the story, but one of the biggest voices around misrepresentation in the movie came from Peter Dinklage. When the Game of Thrones star criticized Disney for their outdated live action, he didn't hold back. In a heated 2022 interview on the WTF with Mark Maron podcast, it appears that the studio is now rushing to fix the harm caused by his criticism. Dinklage, who has a condition called plasia, which is a type of dwarfism, got down on viewers and criticized Disney for congratulating itself on casting Zegler as a Latina snow person, while continuing to use what he called an insensitive and antiquated depiction of dwarfs.
There appears to be a sizable problem. Where are the dwarfs?
These are roles made for actors of my stature. I can't go out for the Harrison Ford or the George Clooney roles.
Dinklage's harsh words sent shockwaves through Hollywood, and they very much prompted Disney to quickly issue a statement in hopes of calming the storm. The studio announced that they were taking a different approach with the 7 characters. Their aim was to avoid reinforcing the stereotypes that have haunted the original animated film since 1937. But let's be real, Disney's got its work cut out for them with backlash coming from all sides. The studio was caught between trying to modernize a beloved classic and navigating the minefield of representation in 2024. Whether their different approach will win over critics like Dinklage or just dig them deeper into controversy remains to be seen. One thing's for sure, this remake is already more drama than any fairy tale ever needed. So what are your thoughts on Rachel Zegler absolutely losing it after Snow White's trailer finally hit our screens? And what do you think about her version of the story? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to know what Brett Cooper has to say about her fellow Snow White, then this is the next video that you need to watch.